Okay, here we go. It is the first Wednesday webinar of 2026, and I am super excited, honestly, a bit overexcited, to have Nick Thompson here with us to talk with us. Now, Nick and we were just chatting, and it's 20 years since we last actually saw each other.
Mm,
It feels like 5 minutes. And Nick has been actually a really important part of my learning and the development of animal psychoaromatica. He's unbeknownst to him, I'm sure, but he is the first one from whom I learned about raw feeding, natural
I,
nutrition, all of that. Remember those workshops back in
yeah,
Horsehay Farm back in the
yeah,
early 2000s?
yeah.
Then you were also teaching about horse nutrition.
Yeah.
Um, and the other part of Nick's contribution to the way we work as IPA practitioners, which most of these people here are,
Hi guys.
is about stress. Because it was, I had all of this intuitive stuff. Oh, stress is really important, and that's what led me to nutrition. And then it was Nick that put the science into place for me,
Mm.
and I understood how stress actually affects the body.
Okay.
All of that, and it just went click, click, click.
Okay.
So, and I don't remember which workshop it was you were teaching the stress in. But then do you remember we did a workshop on stress where I brought my crazy collie along, and
Okay.
anyway, that was in Horsehay as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what I'm trying to say to share with you all and why I'm a bit excited about all this is that Nick and I have been around an awful long time. He is an important one person contributing to the wealth and health, the health of the animals.
Yeah. Not so much
Um,
wealth.
yeah, not so much wealth,
I
but
wish.
we're rich in love. We're
We
rich
are
in
rich in love. We are absolutely we're rich in love. We're rich in energy. We're not half as stressed as we could be if we were chasing monetary wealth.
that's
So
it.
I hope you're in a good place, Diana.
I'm in a
You're
good
looking
place.
well, and you're in Portugal, which is very cool, and it's a lot warmer than here. So that's
Well,
very wise. So
yeah,
I hope your travels have been
my travels
very
have been
good.
good. They have been,
Yeah,
they brought me home to this place, and it's
amazing.
yeah. And the other thing I want to say to you about Nick is that I consider him to be really one of the most important people and the most influential people in bringing raw food feeding, natural feeding, species appropriate feeding into the daylight and spreading it. I mean, honestly, you were a voice in the dark in the beginning
Bless
there,
you.
and you have done such amazing work with just
Mm,
sharing that and spreading that. Um,
thank you. No,
so
no, that's really kind. I could give you 300 reasons where or situations where I could have done more. But I take it for the generous warmth and love that you're offering that observation. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
yeah, well, I really mean it. I mean, I remember back in the day. We're gonna have a bit of a reminisce for a second
Yeah.
when this was all starting out, and there was the bath book, and there was nothing, no other information. There
Yeah,
was
Ian Billinghurst. Yeah, for sure.
Ian Billinghurst, and you were there teaching how to feed and helping to develop the first commercial raw dog food at the
Mm,
time, which just
mm,
made it, which was going into pet shops and stuff, which made it,
mm.
what was the name? Nature's
It was
name.
uh it was initially Anglian Meat Products, but they kind of switched into Nature's Menu, and as they switched, they looked at creating one of the first, definitely the first in the UK, possibly the first in Europe, complete. And so they had meat and bone, and it was a complete meal, because before then people were just selling meat or meat with ground bone in it, and this whole idea of the 80-10-10, which is a very simple and a bit too simple, really, but a foundation is a pretty simple thing. It's just a big stone upon which you build a house. So foundations by definition are pretty simple things. And so the 80-10-10, that only came in way 10 years ago maybe. But back in the old days it was, yeah, it's mince and it's got ground bone in it. Don't have it for your tea. And then we started putting organ meat in it. And then this whole idea of 80-10-10 came along. Even Ian Billinghurst back in the day. Ian Billinghurst started when 86 or so. He was he was talking about, well, you get a bit of organ and you get a bit of mince and you give them raw meaty bones and you put it all together. But so things are a lot easier these days in a certain way. However, there is incredible complexity these days. So
Just,
that's
just,
really,
just for a
really
second,
interesting.
for people
Okay,
who
sorry.
might have missed the very early bit, the
Okay.
80-10-10
Hmm.
means
80-10-10. So 80-10-10 is a mince that you buy from one of your raw food suppliers, and it means that it's the proportion of meat and bone and organ. So you've got
right.
80% of muscle tissue, you've got 10% of bone, and you've got 10% of organ meats. If I was standing up, you'd see I was
And
pointing at me
didn't
liver.
in the early days of nature,
Mm.
there was two. There was Nature's Menu and some other Nature's something. Wasn't there some rice and veg thrown in or something?
They did put rice and, well, they didn't.
Because wasn't that
Some of the
at the
early
time
Nature's
sort of
menu
a
did have rice in it, but we try and move away from that. Rice, I don't think
yeah.
is brilliant. It won't kill dogs, but it's not really, fabulous for them. Veggies, yeah, but nowadays because we've been looking with laser precision at food for the last 25 years, or maybe a wee bit longer, we can now kind of get fussy about these formulae, the formulations that we do. But back in the day, it was kibble or cans or nothing. So really, any move in the right direction. So basically, if you just got this pack of mince with ground bone in it, and you put a few veggies in it, and you gave that to the dog, you were about 3 million
Yeah,
miles
totally right.
ahead of the hills, the Royal Canin, the it was James Wellbeloved back in the day. Remember James Wellbeloved?
Yeah, James.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
old James. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He was a figment of somebody's imagination, but it's great. Just the marketing. The marketing. I was sold by the
Brilliant,
marketing.
wasn't it? Yeah.
I for the first let's have a look. For about the first 3, 4 years of being in practice, I was pushing kibble. Okay. Yeah,
Right.
you
Yeah.
heard
Yeah.
that.
Of course you were.
Because
Of
yeah,
course
because
you
you were, because
were.
everybody was. And at college, we were taught kibble. I can remember we had an afternoon lecture. Hills came in and said, right, if they've got kidney disease, this one's called KD. You can't miss it. If they've got um, um, intestinal disease, this one's ID. You can't miss it. If they've got behavioral disease, this one's called BD.
So
It really is. It's painted
yeah.
by numbers. It's as simple as that.
Uh,
And so we had this. It was like, oh God, this is really boring. But then they gave us beer and sandwiches at the end of the afternoon. So on a
well,
Wednesday, brilliant. Because I was
so
so
listen, so
poor.
that brings me to a point I want to bring up
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
How did you get from that point
Hmm.
of drinking beer with Royal Canin or whoever it was, Hills,
Hills actually. Yeah, they
Hills,
paid for me beer.
to
Yeah.
get, what brought you to realize
Yeah.
that nutrition was important? How did you get there?
Well, I think it was inevitable because, and I love the fact that you ask it in that way because I often get asked this, but that is a very interesting way because I think it was inevitable. Okay, so when you're at home, and I know this because my children are 11 and 13, and they are beginning to distance themselves from their boring, embarrassing stupid parents.
Tragic
Okay.
moment.
So I'm really learning this properly. I'm really learning this from the other side, from being a parent, and the children are going, Dad, you know nothing. What do you know? Okay. So when I was at home, my dad was a doctor and my mum was a nurse, and dad was always busy. He was a GP. He was a lovely GP. He was very kind of holistic. Holistic medicine didn't really exist in those days, but he was a minimal pharmaceuticals, and very much, talking and let's talk this through and see what options we've got. And maybe I used to get boils. I've even got a scar right there where I had a boil, and I wanted something dramatic for my boils. Okay, and he said, no, just bathe it and just increase the blood flow to the area, and it will burst, and then it will take care of itself. And sure enough, it did. And you know, other doctors might go, "Oh my goodness, we need to put an antibiotic dressing, or you need to take
Oh,
antibiotics because
Lancet.
you've got got an abscess. There's bacteria in there. You may get sepsis. You know." But he was just saying, just bathe it and it'll take care of it. And so I think that those kind of simple medical interventions, you don't need to panic. The body most of the time will sort itself out, maybe just needs a little bit of direction. I think those messages went in. And what I was getting at was that I then rejected those because I was, I was going to vet college, and I went through vet college and what have you. My mum was really into aromatherapy and nutrition and homeopathy and more nutrition. And so again, it's like, yeah, okay, mum, yeah, whatever. But I remember I did my interview at Edinburgh, okay, because I got AAB, but I got it the wrong way around. They wanted AAB, but I got a B in chemistry or something. Anyway, detail. So I was almost there, but I got my A's and B's the wrong way around. And I had to go for an interview. And I remember going to the interview and saying specifically, asking them about this thing called an intercalated honours. Now, the vet course in the UK is 5 years long. And you're thinking, 5 years? My God, that's a life sentence. And it is quite a long time. And especially if you're 17, it's like, I'm going to be 22, and 22 is ancient when
Ancient,
you're
absolutely.
17. And
With a
obviously,
walking stick, yeah,
22
definitely.
is really, really
Crawling
old,
around.
as we
Life
well
is
know.
over.
Totally, totally. So I'm telling five stories at once here. So it was 5 years, and I asked them about doing an intercalated, which basically you take a year out and you do pure science for a year. You spend a lot of time in a lab, you spend a lot of time in a library, and you try and learn some basic science. You do some research and all this kind of stuff. And I remember because I wanted to have extra scientific backup behind me because even then I thought I'm probably going to go into alternative medicine and I want some letters after my name because people won't take me seriously, even as the vet.
Wow, that's very sort of
It is
thoughtful. It's
really, it's
amazing,
quite
isn't it?
insightful, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's not
it's
like
very
I,
intuitive.
it's
Yeah,
so I thought I need to get really well qualified. I need to know my way around a laboratory. I need to know my way around a scientific paper. I need to know my way around a library so I can do research and la la la. So I did actually that, not really with any plan. I have not really planned anything in my career. I have just kind of followed my nose
yeah,
with the things that feel right, with the things that, there's 20
yeah, yeah.
things you could do, but they
It's
don't feel
intuition. We
right.
call that
It
intuition.
is it
You're
is
very
intuition.
intuitive, and that's a
It's
brilliant combination,
and
the science and the
yeah, yeah,
intuition.
you're totally correct. So it I have just followed intuition, which if you want to make lots of money, don't follow your intuition because intuition doesn't have a very good nose for money. But if you want to be happy and if you want to be uh, reasonably at peace, I'm not at peace all the time. Do not get me wrong. My wife, which she would say, you're the grumpiest bastard ever known. Okay, so uh, I am far from perfect in all ways. However, I think that if I was chasing money, I'd probably be in the ground by now because I
Yeah,
tend to be a little extreme in everything that I do.
yeah.
So
You're total, Nick. You're total. You put your totality into it. Let's call
I
it
think,
rather than
yeah.
extreme.
She says, "Oh, you're an extremist. Why are you so extreme in everything that you do?" I do everything in it is
But
as an
that's what
extreme.
wives are for. We're there to keep you,
Yeah. No,
the
good on you. Yeah, that's really good. Anyway, so there you go. That was the story, which was basically I moved away from alternative medicine because that's kind of how I was raised. That was the original question, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
I was raised in with alternative medicine. We
yeah.
moved to New Zealand when I was a kid. Dad did acupuncture there, and the
Wow.
famous story is he got three women pregnant. Okay, that's how I start. That's how I start the story. But then I follow up with they were infertile, and he used some acupuncture, and that allowed them to conceive, and
Brilliant.
off they went.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So basically, you came into the whole thing with that
okay,
sort of with that
I, I,
rooting and
it,
grounding
I
in
totally
and
did, but I
healing and
rejected it.
proper healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I rejected it when I was at college because it was the
Yeah.
bright lights of Edinburgh and
You're
modern
super
medicine.
clever
Yeah,
and yeah,
absolutely. But then,
silly old parents.
but you know what? Within 6 months of getting into practice, and I was, I remember it was a case, really lovely guy. I think his wife had died. The dog was there. She was a little Sheltie. I think she was beautiful, beautiful dog, and he was really nice, simpatico guy. And and every 3 weeks, I was giving this dog lorabalin, which is an anabolic steroid, which we used to use in the day to kind of keep boosting your kidneys. And he was probably taking Hills KD, and the dog was kind of tipping along, tipping along. Expectations weren't high in those days because it was difficult to manage kidney disease, and he was eating this kibble. Oh,
Yeah,
forgive
garbage.
me, but that's all I knew at that stage. And I just thought, here's me doling out antibiotics, giving steroids, giving lorabalin, and handing out this food. Food hadn't really clicked in my brain at that stage, but here was me doling out. Whereas when I get ill, I might go to drugs, but that would be the last thing I would do. If I got a runny nose, I'm not going to take a drug. And yet I'm expected to give him an antibiotic. You've got a slightly snotty nose, here you go. This was the early 1990s. And I just kind of felt there is a mismatch here. What would I do for myself, and what am I doing for these dogs? Because that's how I was trained to do it. And I just thought there is a disparity here, and I need to get wise to that. So I went and talked to the boss and said, "Can we get some homeopathic remedies in?" And God bless him, he's a guy called Paul Thompson. We were in Yorkshire. He was a southerner. He's had the same name as me, and he was a total scientist, not into homeopathy at all. And he said, "Nope, don't just get some remedies in. Go and do some training." And to a certain
Good for
extent,
him. That's
the reason
brilliant.
I started my homeopathic training at the Royal London Homeopathic Hospital is because a dyed-in-the-wool homeopathic skeptic sent me and paid for the tuition.
Brilliant.
Isn't that
Brilliant
cool?
story.
I've
Yeah,
never
that's totally
told
cool.
I've never told that story before because it's never
Uh,
kind of come
yeah,
come into my mind. So that's
yeah.
why this is such a really
And
lovely
that's
chat.
that's what kind of connects back to what you were saying before about
Mm.
like, just following your gut and your intuition. And
Yeah.
then life comes along and it helps you and it goes, yeah, here you go, right track, take this. We'll
Yeah.
boost you up.
It's totally like that because I think, and I'm no sage, but I think when you're on the right track, the road is less bumpy.
Just
I'm not saying
opens
it's
up in
without
front of
bumps.
you. No, but it
Yeah.
rolls along and it'll take you over the bumps. And that's totally
It's
my
less
experience.
bumpy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you go the wrong track, it's going to be mountainous and there's going to be swamps
Yeah.
and goodness knows what.
Oh God, ogres and big great traps and
Yeah.
everything.
Oh,
Heck love
totally.
that.
Man traps, the lot. And but the road, the right road for you may be tough, but it's a lot less tough than
Yeah,
other. We're getting very
absolutely.
philosophical here, aren't we? I didn't know
Well,
we were
yes,
going to
but
do that.
that's life, isn't it? It's all about the philosophical. It's
Mm, mm,
important.
mm,
Okay,
mm.
listen, I have another question for you.
Okay, all right.
Um, so I'm just saying which way, because I can see we're going to take a while on each one. So what's the important ones? So
I can do them quickly. I'm just so
no, I'm enjoying
overjoyed to
it.
be
No, we're
talking to
enjoying
you
it. So
again.
yeah,
I'm
I
going
know.
I'm going
I know.
OTT.
This is sorry. We might just let everybody go if they get bored. If you want, you want to leave. Feel
I
free.
know.
No, I'm kidding. I'm sure they're loving it. So
No, no,
Yeah,
they're
so
all
you did
asleep, actually. I can see them.
homeopathy. You see, you did homeopathy, but you
Yeah.
also then went on and you had when I knew you first, you were doing acupuncture, you were doing herbs, you did that Jimmy's herb course, right?
Jimmy Simmons, who's now down in
Jimmy
South
Simmons.
Africa. I'm still in touch
Yeah.
with him,
Are you?
actually.
Bless
And
him, lovely man.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we're going down to South Africa. If anybody's up for a bit of South African sun in September, I think it's around the 17th of September, the Raw Feeding Veterinary Society and the African Pet Health Summit are getting together, and we're bringing some really big hitters in. Judy Morgan is coming in, and some other really big names
Oh
in
God, that sounds
nutrition.
exciting.
It'll be
Yeah.
absolutely cracking. There you go,
Yeah.
a little plug.
Good, fantastic. We would like to make sure we have the details of that so we can
Yeah.
post it somewhere.
Hmm.
Um, so you had all of these skills. You were working with dogs and cats and
Yeah. Yeah.
horses.
Yeah.
Um, and are you still doing any of that stuff, or did it all just go into? I mean, I know you still do homeopath. I know you're still a working
Yeah.
vet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But is it down to small pets?
Okay.
Which of those skills are you still using?
Okay. So it's basically been a process of attrition. So
Yeah.
started doing cats and dogs and sheep and pigs and gerbils and you name it, whatever came through the door. Okay. So that was in Yorkshire, my first practice. And yeah, a bit of everything, because I thought it was going to be James Herriot. You see, that's
Yeah,
what
that's
I
it.
thought.
Exactly. So I had to say, total James Harriet. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
just thought it was
yeah.
going to be James Herriot. Yeah, so much for that. So, I've got another story about that. But we haven't got time.
No,
Okay,
carry on.
okay. So, um, and just over the years, fate has just guided me. Sometimes I've been reluctant. Sometimes it's been, yep, I've got to do that. And it's been gradually, I've gone from small animal and large animal. Large animal is what they call farm animals in the veterinary world. So I had to move away from those, which is a real shame because I love working with cattle, love working with pigs. It's just that the medicine is just Neanderthal. It's like, oh, it's got an infection, boom, there's an
Yeah,
antibiotic. It's in pain, there's a painkiller. It's really, now, what is really interesting about pigs, for example, though, is that you have to really fine tune the environment and the stress element in order to allow them to grow as quickly and as effectively as possible so that you can kill them and eat them. Okay. That's the kind of
I know. I
the
had a
bottom line.
student who worked in like as a
Yeah.
behaviorist, and that was she crushed her
But
completely.
it did teach me about
The environment.
stress, and it did teach me about you can't just look at the patient in front of you. You've got to say, let's look at the temperature, let's get a look at the environment, let's look at the drafts. In terms of pigs, you've got to look at the drafts, you've got to look at the floor surface, you've got to look at the drinkers, you've got to look at the water flow of the drinkers going in like that. You've got to bit of light, how much light are they getting, all this kind of thing. So
Yeah,
that kind of introduced me to this whole idea of stress and environmental medicine,
yeah,
even though we didn't call it that in those days.
yeah. No, that's brilliant. And that actually, I'm going to move on for a second.
Yeah. So
Um,
just basically it's got
yeah,
less and less and less. And now I just do dogs and within dogs, I do mainly food. And within food, I do mainly raw food. So if give me another 20 or 50 years and I'll just be doing the left toe of
of poodles or
Basenji's
something.
or probably I've got Whippet Italian Greyhound and a lurcher downstairs. So it'll be the left toe of
Right.
black lurchers. That's what I'll be specialized in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so brilliant. Well, it's a bit of a shame because you're a very good vet and
Bless you.
you're
I'm not. I
great
think I'm a
great with
good
the animals.
communicator, and I think I got
Well,
it from
maybe
my
that's what
mother.
it is, but yeah.
From my father, I got the sciencey thing, and the kind of, but from my mother, I got the empathic thing. She was very very empathic, and I think I got a smattering of that, and I got the sciencey thing from Dad, and I'm
Yeah.
a I'm a I'm a a product of those two things, which is
Yeah,
which for
which is
which I'm very
brilliant.
thankful. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and so here's a question that just came up for me.
Yeah.
So you're focusing on nutrition now as your main healing modality, if you
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And what's the results? What do we
Oh
say?
God, I love it.
Can you, without say supporting it with homeopathy or
Mm.
whatever, can you turn around disease
Yeah.
with just nutrition?
Brilliant. Great question. Okay, so that's really, really good. And I'm going to go back to Samuel Hahnemann. Samuel Hahnemann, guys, is the guy who discovered homeopathy. Didn't invent it, discovered it because it was always there. It's just that he had to discover it. And he was back in the day of Mozart, just to kind of put it in some context, about 200 years ago. And and he was rallying, funnily enough, against the modern medicine of his day, which was loads of mercury and purging and leeches and all that sort of nonsense. And he was saying this is nonsense. Why don't we just enhance the body's ability to heal itself? Homeopathy, same disease. Yeah, you just promote the body's ability to heal itself. But one of the things he did say was eliminate obstacles to cure. Okay, so I've been doing
Mm.
homeopathic training for. I might answer your question if you're lucky. He
Yeah.
said, eliminate
We'll get you there.
obstacles
We'll
to
get you there.
cure. Okay, and that really resonated. It is pretty obvious, but it really resonated with
Yeah.
me, and and so nutrition and homeopathy, which is your question, can work together because if you're feeding a really crap diet and you give a really fabulous remedy, that remedy is probably not going to hold long term because you haven't got the foundation. We're talking about foundations, and
Yeah.
therefore the vital impulse that you give to that body is built on poor foundations and is unlikely to persist because Hahnemann was using homeopathy
Yeah.
with no PFAS, no forever chemicals, no
Yeah.
vaccination, no microplastics, no glyphosate,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
all this
Yeah.
rubbish that we are bathing in, bad light, LED lights and all that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
He didn't know. So for him, you give a remedy and boom, boom, you can be
Yeah.
miraculous change. Now we are wading through a swamp
Yeah.
of badness in
And one
environmental
of the
badness
simple things to change
is the
for
food.
people is the food. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's
It's
you
within
can
our
there's
control. Yeah.
good food, there's bad food, but food is something you can change. And uh as far as dogs are concerned, most dogs eat abysmally. I mean, most people don't eat that great, but you take that to the next level. That's how dogs eat. Yeah, because they're
Yeah.
fed ultra processed food twice a day for their entire life or their
Yeah.
entire life stage at the very least, You
So
pick up,
are you
yeah.
taking in like a lot of clients coming to you, you are actually taking them from that they're on kibble and not thriving, and you move them over to raw, to cooked, to
Yeah.
yeah,
There's a clause in the introductory thing is that I'm going to find it really difficult to work with you if you insist on staying with raw food, with cooked, with kibble
kibble.
or ultra processed food.
Processed food. Yeah.
Yeah, because what's the point? Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's like
totally. Yeah.
it's you're dragging the ship into the right sea, and you are letting the ship adrift, and you're not putting an anchor
Yeah.
down to keep it in the right
Yeah.
environment for for
Yeah.
for that for that animal.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yes, I think that food really is fundamental. I think that Hahnemann would agree with that. He even talks about
Yeah.
food in
Yeah,
the
no,
organon.
absolutely. But
Um,
I'm just curious because, usually it's food, obviously within how I teach too, it's all
yeah,
about you got to change the food.
yeah,
You got to look at the food.
yeah,
And then, but also, yeah, the environment, and we're giving them the oils and the self-selection and all of
yeah,
that, reducing the stress.
yeah,
So that's what is my question here, actually? Um, but so you see the food as central and then the other stuff that you do around it as well, or is that enough? Is it enough? That's what I'm trying to ask. Is
Is it
changing the
is the
food
food enough?
getting you the results you want by
But
itself?
it's very often, I think, is probably the fairest way of answering that. There are cases that
Yeah,
are I mean,
yeah,
I will use herbs, I will use homeopathics. Very rarely, I might even use drugs, but I find that the mainstay these days is the nutrition,
nutrition.
and it yeah, it can be miraculous. Actually, it's really bad for business because
Yeah.
you you actually cure a dog, and that's it. You never see them again. Whereas from a conventional perspective, they keep on coming back for their shot of
Well,
cytopine,
yeah, totally,
which is a
absolutely.
which
Bad
is a
business
brilliant.
model. Bad.
It's
Ugh,
yeah, it's a brilliant business model, but it's
yeah,
doesn't sit right with
yeah,
me,
yeah,
But the thing
totally.
is, I'm not saying that Cytopoint is wrong. It's I think within that paradigm, Cytopoint is really, really good because, the vets are presented with this itching case and they can't do anything else with it because they, think, oh, kibble is the ultimate answer. It's wonderful and it's sterile and it's scientifically formulated. Therefore, it's absolutely great. There is no bad side of feeding kibble or canned food. Little do they know that actually it's that which is causing the disease. So they
Yeah.
give the cytopoint or the apoquel or the steroids uh, to treat the symptoms, which is effective in treating those symptoms, except they come back as soon as the drug wears off because of the food in some cases. And I'm seeing
Okay.
mainly skin cases and gut cases and behavior cases.
Yeah. And so here's the next question coming in.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, do you use do you recommend exclusively raw food, or what's your thoughts on cooked food or home cooked food?
Mm.
Do you
Yeah.
consider the energetics of the food, all of that
Yeah.
sort of stuff?
Yeah. The older I get, the less zealous I get, and I'm very
It's a
comfortable.
wonderful feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is good, isn't it? It's so much easier. Um, so I'm really cool with lightly cooked food. I Since the mid '90s, I've been looking at the traditional Chinese medicine and energetics, and it just doesn't go into my brain. And
Uh-huh.
so I'm going to leave that for cleverer people. I'm a really simple guy, and I'm
Yeah.
just thinking if you're sensitive to chicken, let's find out by doing some food trials, and then let's
Yeah.
avoid chicken for at least 6 months. That's how I
Yeah.
approach these
Yeah.
things. Um,
And what do you think
yeah,
about, okay, so here, yes, totally. I hear you. I get you.
yeah,
And that thing about simplicity is something I wanted to bring up and
mm,
being less zealous because, looking back over the years, and
yeah,
we have some years to look back over now,
yeah,
ideas have changed.
yeah,
This is best. That is best. Now we should do it like this. Yes, you should have rice and veg and meat and bones, etc. No, you shouldn't have any carbohydrates
mm,
whatsoever.
mm,
Okay, yes, this is a little, oh, you must absolutely balance every last micronutrient to the nth degree, which drives me crazy.
totally.
So, so at the most simplest.
Yeah,
So my conclusion from that is let's not
mm,
fuss about it too much.
totally agree. Totally agree. I think that shows our I think it shows our experience. Maybe it shows our wisdom. I'd like to think it might. Um,
Probably
but
shows our
but
age.
but yeah, it does. It shows. I wouldn't say that at all. Uh, no, no. Okay, so all these people who talk about, you've got to have this much calcium and this much magnesium and this much selenium and this much protein per kilo body weight and what have you, they then go home and just look in the fridge for what they're going to have for dinner. Yeah. So there's
Exactly.
there's a complete mismatch
Yeah.
between what they say and what they do and how they feed their family. Okay. They'll say, oh, this is the calcium requirement. And you say to them, how much calcium did your children get last week? And they'll be absolutely clueless. So
Yeah.
somewhere There is a lack of joined up thinking here. So
And
my,
the other thing I want to just throw in, because
yeah,
sorry to interrupt,
no,
is
that's
that
right.
nutritional science is a complete scam because they're doing tests on animals which are stressed and
Yeah,
it's changing all the time. So how can you possibly decide on these sort of trial things which how much nutrients you need? What do you think?
your company is so big that you are in bed with the regulators and you set the parameters. That's how you do
Right.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mentioning
Okay.
no names.
Mm. But
So,
yeah, so
uh,
microbalancing.
so basically, I think variety. Here's how I talk about raw food, and this will. Oh no, we have got a bit of time actually. So,
Yeah.
here's very briefly how I talk about raw food, and you're welcome to steal this idea. So, there are five elements of raw food diet. I'm doing this in reverse. Okay, so
Okay. No,
uh,
yes. Oh, you're in
you
reverse,
can
right?
see it. I can't
Yeah,
do it.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, we're
yeah.
looking at you
Okay.
normal.
So you've got the soft stuff. This is meat and organ. Okay, and then you've got bony material. Okay, and then you've got veggie material, and we can break these down if you like. I don't want to bore your people any further. And then you've got mins and vits, and are best derived from nuts, herbs, seeds, and spices. And then you've got some omega 3s, which is, I think, often best from marine sources. However, if you get some really good regen meat, then that's going to be much higher in omega 3s than your average meat, and a whole lot higher than the CAFO meat that a lot of the Americans and we increasingly eat in this country. So it's balance of those five,
Careful, yeah,
yeah, because you've got
yeah,
five fingers, you can remember it. It's diddle, and
yeah,
then the key thing, and your palm is a lot bigger than these individual bits here, is this is variety. So
right.
it's those elements there, those five elements, and variety, because it's very difficult to get deficiency disease if you're constantly giving the body a bit too much magnesium, a bit too little, a bit too much, a bit too little. On average, you're about right. Bit too much protein, bit too little, bit too much, etc. Choose your nutrient. It will vary if you vary the diet, and that's how you prevent excess and deficiency.
Yeah,
There you go. That's it.
that's brilliant. And
Don't
and
tell
the other
anybody, otherher's I'll be out of a
completely out
job.
of a job.
Yeah,
Luckily, people still love to be told what to do all the
yeah,
time, so I think
yeah,
you're safe.
yeah,
Um, and the other thing that I, because we're all about self-selection,
yeah,
right, is I will put some seeds in the bowl
yeah,
and some this and whatever, bits and
yeah,
pieces in the bowl,
yeah,
and if they want them, they eat them, and if they and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And and I have one dog
yeah,
that loves dairy, and he'll lick a
yeah,
yogurt pot till it's. And the other that won't touch dairy, but
yeah,
she loves tahini or whatever. They
yeah,
different
yeah.
dogs have different
Yep.
needs, loves,
Yeah. There's that whole
stages of
thing about
life, the weather changes, and it's all different.
totally seasons. Yeah, got it. There was a thing in the 1930s. There was a woman who did she got a lot of rescue kind of orphans off the street, and they had rickets and all these things, and she created a diet. She no, she allowed them to select from I think 42 different. There was raw milk, and there was cod liver oil, and there was this and this and this and this and this. Some things that we would consider really not very attractive. These and the porridge and God knows. And these children, and she took them in, and that's all they could feed, and they could feed as much as they like, and the nurses would watch what they were eating, and they would take notes. It's like Johnny's got rickets. Oh, look, he's going for the cod liver oil. Isn't that interesting? I wonder why. Okay, yeah, these were children volunteering to drink cod liver oil for God's sake. Okay, so it's the if you look it up, it's called the whole study. She's Clara somebody I can't remember, but the whole thing is called Clara's Kids, and you wouldn't be able to do these kind of studies now, but she did it. She took these kids, probably 20 kids, and she kept them on for a number of months, and they went in and they were ragamuffins, and they were skinny, and they had rickets and like bad skin and sores and what have you, and they came out and they were all in fabulous shape. Okay,
Amazing.
and they were
Brilliant.
actually even healthier than the average child. They had better
Yeah.
but how have they measured it in those days? BMI,
Yeah.
like a 1930s BMI, whatever that is. Heights and muscle
Yeah.
and all those things. So so people in the right environment do have the ability to self-select, and there is there's what's her name, Cindy Engel, was it, who did the
Yeah.
book
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
self-selection. So there is
Yeah.
self-selection. It's just
Other things.
humans find it pretty difficult because are you going to go to the cupboard and select the finest romaine lettuce, or are you just going to go and get some pizza? It's
Yeah.
it's
Well,
uh,
the thing is with humans
mm,
is that we are trained out of listening to
we
our
are
feeding senses at a very early age. You
totally,
have
totally,
to
totally.
eat what's given to you, you know?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so we're like, no, we're cut off from it. But I have now raised dogs and horses and cats on self-selection
I think
from
allowing them to
kidhood.
select, yeah,
And
as
they
Clara
are,
demonstrated,
you
it
know,
it works. Yeah,
and they do it with food too. It's like, no, I don't want to eat this. I'll leave it. And one day they'll leave a whole beautiful bowl of raw rabbit, and the next day they'll, it's
yeah,
part of it. And people, again, I think people just need to fuss because often people put down a bowl of something, like you see these Instagram
mm,
pictures with a bit of this and that raw egg
yeah,
and then
yeah.
they're worried because their animal isn't eating it.
Mm.
Um, they know best. They know what to do.
Yeah,
I know that this
equally,
is not a sort of a sustainable way for most people to feed their animals because they
yeah,
don't have that time or
that
availability.
flexibility.
But it
Yeah, for
is, I think
sure.
it's important that it's acknowledged as animals,
It's an option.
don't worry about it is what I'm trying to say to people. Don't worry too
Yeah,
much.
people worry. People worry. Don't worry, be happy, as Bobby
Yeah.
McFerrin said, and he was dead right. If you can manage it, then it's a really good plan.
Yeah.
But I think fasting should be part of a diet, and if a dog will do it of their own volition, and collies are very good at that. Actually, collies will kind of. I know many a collie who
Mine will do it. Yeah.
who will eat for a couple of days and then stop, and then eat for a couple of days and then stop.
Right.
Whereas if you've got a Labrador, they will never stop
No.
eating. You know.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I wanted to ask you about fasting, what you think. I mean, because
Oh
I
yeah,
don't think
it's
it's a
great.
natural, whether you should sort of do it for them if they're not going to do it, or if I just let mine do it whenever they want, which is every so often.
Yeah, but then you've got whatever 400 generations of breeding to make a Labrador because it's pretty chilly in
Yeah,
Labrador,
yeah,
and so
no,
if you eat
absolutely.
like crazy, it's quite a good
Yeah,
idea in those kind of conditions. If you're swimming out in Arctic
yeah,
waters, so we live in a complicated world,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. No, absolutely. And again, not every dog has had the liberty to learn about how to feed itself without,
Yeah.
you know, because it's not freely available apart from anything else. We're delivering it on our schedule, and that creates a need to eat more than
Yeah.
you need.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I think that if you got 100 dogs of various shapes and sizes, and the end of the world came, and people just disappeared off the face of the earth, I think that most of them would look after themselves. I think the extreme breeds might find it difficult. The Cavalier King Charles is probably not gonna take down a deer,
No, but
but
it'll find rabbits and cockroaches
it would
and
find
mice
find
and
rabbits are pretty quick, but
mice.
mice, possibly rats. Although caveat, I've got
They're a
nothing
bit,
against cavies; they're great
yeah,
little things. But
yeah.
you wouldn't want to rely on a cavy bringing you home your dinner.
No.
That's for sure. I've got a lurcher. I've got a rescue lurcher, and he will have a really good go at a deer. So if Armageddon strikes, I think I'd be able to feed my family by just taking the dog out,
Yeah, well, that's a
which is
useful
kind of
way.
reassuring. Yeah,
Yeah,
not good
definitely,
if you're a deer,
definitely.
but good
Yeah.
if you're trying to feed a hungry family.
Yeah, well, mine will definitely bring stuff in. And
Yeah,
then, until all the sheep are wiped out, mine, I'm definitely okay with mine. But
yeah.
I guess they won't last that long after Armageddon. Anyway, let's not go down. We're getting way off
I
into our.
could go
I
there.
know
I
we
could.
could. I know.
I have got, I have got tins of corned beef put away in a cupboard.
Well, I just find
I
it
could
very
go.
reassuring when I look out of my window that I know that I have food available and medicine available
Yeah.
for thousands of hectares around me, and I can just wander out there
Uh,
and survive. It won't be a big deal.
that's
We don't
brilliant.
have, we live off grid. It's all
Do you have
anyway.
water?
It is a reassuring thing to me.
It is kind of reassuring, isn't it?
Anyway, we're getting close to the end here.
Yeah,
And
sorry. We're
no,
wandering
no,
all
it's
over the
good. I'm
place.
enjoying it. Everyone's
Yeah.
enjoying it, aren't you, girls?
Okay.
Everyone's having a
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Smile. Now's the time to smile.
Get ready
Check is
for.
in the post.
We're going to get to questions soon. So if any of you have
Yeah.
questions,
Yeah.
you can raise your hand or pop them in the chat.
There's two chats there. There's two chat doodles. Shall
Yeah,
we?
there is. I've
Do
asked.
you want to have a look at those? Or sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, no, but before we do that,
Yeah.
I would like you
Mm,
to give us.
yeah.
Um, oh, there was a question I haven't
Oh,
asked you that
top
was. But
tips.
anyway,
Top
yeah,
tips
top
for
tip.
people.
Like
Yeah.
one tip, one thing that a person can do
Yeah.
today to
Yeah.
improve the health of their animal, the well-being of their animal. What
Yeah,
would
well,
it
I
be?
could give you half an hour,
Oh, of
but
course you could. It's a day and a
just
half.
let's just go a few quickies. So the first thing is, if your dog hasn't got fleas or ticks, why would you give a product, either a drop-on or a tablet, NexGard, Bravecto? Why would you give a product if you haven't got a problem? Okay, it's a bit like taking let's pretend you're a normal person. It's a bit like taking an anodine even though you haven't got a headache. It's that crazy. Okay,
Yeah,
and
it's
yet
madness.
we are instructed by the manufacturers, use NexGard every month to prevent this, and this. Okay, and and I really object to that because they are toxic to the dog. They are toxic to you when you stroke the dog. You know, if you put a drop on, even if you put one by mouth, it does come out to the skin because that's how it affects fleas and ticks. Okay, so the top tip is, if your dog is not particularly prone to fleas and ticks, don't use a flea or tick product. Okay. Now, you can apply the same logic to parasites, to internal worm parasites, except you can't see those. Yeah. The beauty of fleas and ticks is they're on the outside, therefore you can see them. Yeah. And you can make a judgment. If you can't see them, why would you use a product? Why would you use a pesticide? Okay. On the inside, what you can do is you can get a poo sample and send it off to a lab. We use a lovely lab called wormcount.com, but there are other labs you can use. You'll find them if you go online, and you send a poo sample and you see whether the dog has got worms or not. And if you haven't got worms, why? Why would you use a pharmaceutical? Milbamax, milbamycin, Drontal, whatever it might be. Why use a drug if you haven't got a problem? Again, it's anodine headache. Okay, so those would be my top tips. It's sometimes it's not what you put into the system, what's not what you put in the bowl, it's what you don't give. And so that would be my top tip. One for the inside. Do a worm count rather than just doing automatic worming. And on the outside, don't use a flea and tick product of any description. You can use herbal products or essential oil products if you like. Great, yeah, just kind of keep on top of things and be a bit preventative. That's absolutely great. By the same token, and this is a major can of worms, I would really try and use Titre testing to reduce the amount of distemper, hepatitis, and parvo. That's the DHP of the DHP L that your vet will be wanting to give to your dog. DHP can last a lifetime, and if you do a blood test every now and again, every 1, 2, 3 years, you will often find that those antibody levels can persist for years and years and years. And even the World Small Animal Veterinary Association says the the antibody levels can persist for up to a lifetime. It's in black and white. And yet, when
Yeah,
you talk to the manufacturers, they say, oh, you must give it every 3 years. No,
yeah,
the WSABA say 3 years is the most frequent you should give it, but they happen to misread that and say we must give it every 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so top tip, Titre testing, Titre, tighter
Yeah.
testing.
Good.
This would be three tips for the price of one.
Three for the price of one. Yay, the man's generous to a
Isn't
T.
he? Isn't he just?
Okay, we kind of covered this question a little bit. We talked to somebody would love to hear your um, uh, take on raw versus home cooked.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
yeah,
what's my take? My take is that
yeah,
there's not a lot of difference, and if you just can't bring yourself to feed raw, or you've got an older dog, for example, and who's not so good on raw but great on lightly cooked, then absolutely just go for it. Just lightly cook it. You can get raw food and just really lightly cook it. The proviso is it's got to be low heat, short period. Okay, so that you don't start turning the bone into reinforced concrete, because otherwise you're going to get a dog who gets, gets silted up. So lightly cooked, absolutely go for it. Let's not fight about it. It's very similar to raw food, and it's a million miles from kibble, which is exactly where you want to be.
okay. Is that good for you,
Does that work?
Leslie? Yes, she says that's good.
Okay,
Next
good.
one. I've
Yeah.
yet to be convinced, says Tracy, and Tracy is a vet nurse or was a vet nurse.
Great. Yes.
Um, she's not anymore. I've
Yes.
yet to be convinced about holistic treatment of a
Yeah.
positive lungworm test. Would you
Yep.
consider using pharma to treat this?
So it's a great question, and we could go into technicalities, but if you if you've got a dog who is symptomatic for Angiostronglus, that's the French lungworm, then you've got a dog who's got problems. They've got petechiae, they've got a cough or something. Boom, whack them with whatever you like. Okay, I'm talking ivermectins. I'm talking um, milbemycin, high dose. Because they potentially are going to die. Go for it. That's what pharmaceuticals are for. If you've got a dog who's absolutely fine and no symptomatology whatsoever, then it is possible that that lungworm is still in just the gut phase and there is no respiratory pathology. So I think it's pretty justified to either use a pharmaceutical if that's what you fancy, but that will disrupt the microbiome, or use a product. I work with a company called Vermex. They got a really nice product that we use there. Or there's another one called diatomaceous earth, or there's another product which is called citricidal, which is really good, which is grapefruit seed extract, and that can be very
Okay.
useful as well. There's also a yeast called Saccharomyces boulardii, which we use
Hmm.
against Giardia, and maybe that will have an effect. But the question is, it's not quite as simple as the question would suggest. So if they're symptomatic, whack them with whatever you like and mop up the microbiome disruption with probiotics and prebiotics and what have you afterwards. If they're not symptomatic, then and they're otherwise well, I would treat with either pharmaceutical or non-pharmaceutical. My preference would be non-pharmaceutical. You then retreat them because good science says make an intervention and then check that the intervention has been effective and then move on from there. And I would be feeding them on a raw food diet because then their gut is going to be, I find, much more resilient to any kind of infection. So that would be my thought going along those lines.
Okay. Best herbs for preventing flea, tick, and worm problems.
I would suggest keep it simple, something like ginger, garlic, those kind of things. Dogs can take garlic. Don't give them 15 cloves all in one go. But if you're giving a Labrador a clove a day, that kind of rate, yeah, so 1 clove per 30 kilos, then I don't think you're going to go anywhere near toxicity. A bit of ginger for that circulatory stimulation, and those kind of herbs would be used to try and make just what you're trying to do is trying to make the dog less attractive to flea and tick infestation. Homeopathically, there is some work to suggest that Staphysagria, it's like a 12x. You make a spray and you can use that. If you want to use essential oils, and I'm not sure because I'm not sure. The VMD is getting a bit unhappy about us using natural products. This is one
Right.
that Ellie makes. Her company is called Dermadog, and it contains lemongrass, rose
Ellie is his
geranium.
wife, people.
It's my wife, and contains cedar wood. Okay, so lemongrass, rose geranium, and cedar. You can make it yourself at home. Go for it. Absolutely great. Um, I think all these things are very useful. If we're going to go slightly esoteric for fleas, I would be looking at there's a company called Harbour Hounds who do collars. Have you come across these guys? Harbour
No.
Hounds.
Oh
They
yeah,
do, they
Kirsty
do
had. Some people, yeah, some people
yeah,
nodding, some
Kirsty
people.
Kirsty was nodding there. So Harbour Hounds they do collars with these things called EM beads. EM beads are used by aquatic people who have fancy fish to filter, but it has been found that they somehow influence the microbiome in mysterious ways, such that it has a protective effect against fleas and ticks. Yeah.
Well, interesting.
Yes.
Has anybody tried them at all? Kirsty, did you try it? No.
No. Okay. Well, I've
I
got,
haven't tried them, but I know people who have.
yeah, I think they can be really useful. I've got clients down in the New Forest, and they are adamantly they they don't want to use chemicals, and they got one of these collars, and were very skeptical. Put it on the dog, and the dog who was very prone to ticks, reliably, because in tick season you can guarantee the dog goes out, they kind of come back with 7 ticks. Yeah, sure as eggs is eggs, and it significantly reduced that dog's how much of a tick magnet that dog became.
Brilliant. Okay, that's a good one.
Give it a go, and it's totally
That's
non-toxic. Yeah,
that's one I can trial on my doggies because we get ticks here. They do get
yeah.
ticks.
Harbor hounds. You can make them yourself. You can actually, if I look carefully, you can tell how much I've prepared for this. I've actually got some here somewhere. Oh yeah, here you go. Right. You remember Blue Peter? Here's
Oh
here's
yes, of
here's
course.
one I prepared earlier. Right. So
Using the
this
natural.
that guys is an
Okay.
EM bead. All right. You can buy it on eBay, like 10 quid for a whole bag of things. Can you see that?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And so these, and basically what you can do is you can buy a bag of those like that for
Yeah.
tuppence halfpenny, and you can put them on a chain. You have to kind of plait because otherwise they bang into each other and
Yeah.
they turn into dust. All right. And you put them around your neck, and that is very useful for preventing fleas and ticks.
Okay. Well, we
There you
shall
go.
give it a shot.
EM. Echo. So what would that be? Echo
Echo
Mother.
Barbara Mary.
EM. Yeah. EM.
Oh,
As in
just Ian.
Forster. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Um, there's I just actually, but I forgot earlier, and I want to do this before we let you go because we're kind of
Yeah.
at the end of the hour here.
Yeah.
Um, RFVS.
Oh yeah. Great.
Just give us a
RF.
little, which I
RF.
can't, I have to say, I never say that, see those initials without chuckling a little bit and seeing you sitting there
Right.
like, the
Right.
RFVS initial, because it's so much like RCVS.
Oh, that was deliberate. Yeah, that was our
I
little
know.
joke.
That's why I always laugh. I
Yeah.
go, that is so Nick sticking his finger up, you know?
Yeah. Well, no, I love my profession.
I know you
Let's put it
do,
that
but
way. I do
but
love
they,
my
yeah.
profession. Okay. The Raw Feeding Veterinary Society is a totally inclusive family of people who want to come together to talk about making dogs healthy through species appropriate food. If you're keen on raw, great. If you're keen on fresh, great. If you're keen on kibble, probably not the place for you. There you go.
Oh, we need to record. That's a brilliant promo for it. That's
There you go.
totally gonna,
I know. You
yeah.
know what? I've
And but
never even said that
also,
before.
yeah, but
But
it's brilliant. You can take that little clip from your recording and you
we
can put it
should
on
put that.
Instagram. It'll be a total hit.
Yeah,
But listen,
yeah.
question, because it's not just for vets, right? Other
No,
people
that's why
can
I said
join
it's
it as
totally
well.
it started out just for vets,
Yeah.
but so many people wanted to join, and we could learn. We found that we learned loads and loads and loads from nutritionists, from owners, from biochemists, from
Normal people, yeah.
just no, I'm not going to say that because there's no such thing. No such thing as a normal dog. No such thing as a normal horse. No such thing as a normal person. And more none here, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
So, um,
Considered an insult around these parts.
yeah, some people have skills in one direction, some people have skills in another direction. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to just lay out this picnic blanket and say, come on down and let's have a chat and let's help each other to learn a bit more, spread the word, oh, I use a bit of this. Oh, do you? I use a bit of that, and what have you. And we park our any minor differences and we all come together and go, let's try and bring people forward and say, what are the pros and cons of raw? What are the pros and cons of kibble? Let's have an honest, open, adult conversation for a change.
And things start flying across the room and we're throwing things.
No, it's not. I went,
No, I'm
I'm the
kidding.
president.
You
So
know I am.
that doesn't happen on my watch.
Yeah.
It's like you
Yeah,
play
that's brilliant.
nicely or not at all. But you know what? Everybody plays nicely.
Yeah, of
I
course
meet
they
people
do.
on, I'll go to the park, say, very, very infrequently because I'm usually in the woods with these guys. Um, and if if they say, "Oh, I feed raw," it's like suddenly, aha, yes, a fellow traveler. Here we go. You know, um,
Yeah.
and it happens more and more frequently. We went camping in the summer, just in the back of Beyond, okay, in just the most lovely. I'm not even going to tell you where it is because I don't want everybody going there because it's so, so, so beautiful. And there's only enough space for, I don't know, 20, 30 tents, okay? And these people were sitting were next door and they came from Tunbridge Wells, which is quite, quite posh and what have you. And we eventually got talking about food, and they said, "Oh yeah, we feed raw." And I said, "Fantastic! What are the chances? Two crazy families with in tents next to each other, next to this river, in the most beautiful thing in the world." And it's got to the stage where they were feeding raw, and obviously we're feeding ours raw. And
Okay.
so, yeah, the
And
world is changing, and
but yeah,
it's
that's my final question.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you see that there's more and more people moving in that direction. You think that this is
categorically.
you're
Yeah.
positive about the development of the
I
whole.
totally am.
Yeah.
The vets used to be, some of them would be violently anti, and now they're mostly neutral. How about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Give it another 20 years, and they might be
It might even
slightly
be positive.
lukewarm.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
No, no, no. We're not going to give them that long. It's
yeah, which is quite a
yeah.
big deal. Somebody's saying, what
Uh,
do you think about air frying?
raw at home for
Air
camping.
frying raw. Basically, you can do what you like to it. Just don't change it too much. So low temperature, short time. You can air fry it. You can take it up a Himalayan mountain and sun fry it if you fancy. But just don't
For
change
daughter.
it too much because dogs have evolved to eat pretty simple stuff. And the more you muck it about, the more that, and ultra processing is the ultimate mucking about. The more you muck it about, the less able they are to comprehend what it is with their gut. Yeah. So,
Good. Good. Excellent. Okay. Oh, somebody wants you to have a debate with Chris Packham. I think she's spoiling for a fight there, somebody, but
uh, there, I don't think anybody could change his mind.
no.
I don't think,
Not the sort of thing one wants to waste energy on,
I
really.
think I think his mind is set. And if he could convince me that feeding vegetarian food to a dog. Is he vegetarian or is he vegan? I can't remember.
I
Anyway,
think he's vegan. Yeah,
we'll call him
whatever.
veggie. I think he
Yeah,
might be vegan actually.
yeah,
Um, if he could give me a good, plausible scientific argument, I may well um, be convinced, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Okay. I mean, we could talk for an hour very easily about that whole thing about vegan
yeah,
dogs and
yeah.
saving the planet through going vegan and what have you, but let's not go there.
No, we don't really have time to cover that one, and it makes me hot under the collar, so let's not do that.
Indeed.
Um,
Indeed.
okay, Nick, we could sit here and chit chat for a whole lot
One
longer.
day, well, I'm going to come and see you in Portugal one of these days.
Yay! And you pitch up here.
Yeah,
It'll
listen,
be
I've got a number of people down in Portugal, and it's becoming the older I get, the more attractive the idea of going down, writing books. I'm writing a book actually. Watch this
oh,
space,
good. I was
everybody.
just thinking about
Okay,
that as you were coming
the
on.
ultra process thing is it's just so hideous. I've written 200,000 words, and I took
Uh,
it to my agent, and she said it's really good, but I think 100,000 would be better. So. So I'm editing. I'm
good.
editing.
Got to be
So,
done. Got to be
and they
done.
describe here. Let me get something sharp to say this. They describe going through your own work. It's a bit like picking through your own vomit with a cocktail stick.
Oh, we've all, I've
Yeah,
been there, darling.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know that.
So
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm picking
yeah.
through vomit with a cocktail stick. But
Yum.
I'm
That's
quite
fantastic.
enjoying. I'm quite enjoying the process.
I
Yeah,
love editing down.
yeah,
Um, Good. Okay. So
mm,
we can look forward to a book. We can look forward to a visit in Portugal. I'll have to get my horse vet over when you're here because you and he will get
yeah.
like a house on fire. A
Cool.
lovely guy. And there we go. That's it.
There is no more, guys.
Thank you so much for for being here with us, Nick, and sharing your
It's been an
experience.
absolute
And
hoot. Yeah, I didn't know whether I didn't know which way we were going to go, but I had a really good feeling, and it's been one of the most pleasant interviews I've done in many a year. So thank you
oh,
very much
oh.
indeed. And your guys, everyone's still awake, so that's a pretty good.
It's a good sign. They're a fairly lively bunch usually. I made them all small up there.
Yeah.
Good. All right, Nick. And I'm sure you'll be seeing some people joining you from the
Join the
RFVS
RFVS. You can join for
fun.
free. Yeah, just give me a couple of days. We're just trying to make the landing into the raw feeding village as smooth as possible. Okay, before you had to kind of do some ducking and weaving within the website. So just mate, put a note in your diary for next week. Join the Raw Feeding Veterinary Society for free. Come and join the little jamboree. Yeah.
Good, good, good. Thank you so much, Nick. And let's not leave it another 20 years before we get together again.
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. But I'm sure we'll be in fine fettle then. And but let's no, let's. If you're
Yeah.
over this way, if I'm in Portugal, I promise I'll come and see
I'm
you.
never
How
going to
about
be
that?
over this way. I hardly even walk down the hill here, to be
Oh,
honest. I'm not
very
going to
wise.
go
Yeah,
anywhere. I'm
I
just so
hardly
happy
ever
where I
walk down
am.
my hill. I mean, I do go traveling and conferences and things like that. But
Yeah.
I promise. Here's what my promise in front of everybody here. If I'm in Portugal, I'll come and see you. Okay?
That's not good enough.
Yeah,
If
that's
I'm
as
in
good as you're going
Portugal,
to get, I'm
when
afraid.
I'm in Portugal, when I am going to be in Portugal, which won't be very long from now, I will come and visit you. I'll take that.
That's what
When
I
you
said.
are, yeah, when you are
Guys,
in,
is that not what I said? When I'm in
no,
Portugal,
you
I
said
will come and
if.
see you. I'm not saying we're going to come to Portugal to come and visit you
No, I
because
understand
I've
that.
got
I got that.
just
Good enough. I'll take that. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah, yeah.
important enough for a
If
solo
I'm
visit.
there, even if I'm on the other side of the country, I will come over and
Not
we'll
that
have
far.
a couple of days and we'll sit and we'll drink
Grill,
coffee and eat food
you
and look at
know,
horses and
wine
play
and
and do all
yeah,
this stuff. Okay, that's what we'll do.
good. All right, my dear. Thank you for being here with us, and
Thank you. I've
lots of
really
love.
enjoyed that. I
Good.
really enjoyed it, and very best of luck with your studies, guys. Keep at it. Just keep studying. Just do what's fun, do what's enjoyable, and yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy the journey.
Enjoy. That's
Enjoy
what
the
we
journey.
do. Enjoy it all. Good. All right, darling.
All right. Listen,
Bye.
Diana, great to see you. Thank you so
You
much.
too.
See you.
Bye.
Bye bye.